Hello and welcome to Wellness Wednesday with Dianne, Parnell, and Becky Kehoe. And we're here to discuss different things that come up, topics that come up during the week around wellness, emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual changes and positive aspects of our lives. How's it been, Dianne? How's your week been?
Oh, it's been good. It's been busy, but it's been, well, it's only 2 days in, I guess. Or no, 3 days in. It's Wednesday.
Yeah.
See, it was a good week. I don't even know where I'm at.
Well, we did have a fun road trip in the middle there, so
Yes,
that
we
was a good.
did. We had
Yeah.
an awesome time.
Yeah. So
Do you
Dianne
want
and
to
I
talk
went
a
on a
little bit
road
about
trip.
that?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Do you want to talk about that, our road trip?
Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. So what we did was we went to a wonderful friend of ours, Robin Prosser, and she created some templates for us. Beautiful templates with our logos on it.
Yeah. I don't know
And
if you can see.
so, yeah, look at that, Diane. I love
I
that.
don't know if you can hear it.
So they're,
Can you hear it?
they're little rattles.
Aren't they awesome?
Yeah, so that was exciting. So for sure that was a really huge peak in my weekend. So I had a
It
lot of
was
fun with
fun.
that.
And don't
Yeah.
forget the zoodles. We went for
Oh
zoodles.
yes, we had zoodles. Yeah. One of my favorite places in Vernon.
Yeah. No, it was a fun day. It was a fun day.
Yeah, absolutely. So during our drive, Diane and I talked a little bit about gut health and different things about it that sometimes you're not always aware of. And today we thought that would be our topic. So Diane, tell me your take on gut health. You're the expert in it. You've been
Oh,
studying this for up to, I think, 40 years.
well, it's been a long time. Yeah,
Yeah.
it has been a long time. I've always had gut issues. Pretty much now that I look back, now that I know what I know and have looked back, I've had gut issues my whole life, pretty much, because I always used to have stomach aches before I'd go to school, but I didn't, they just called it nervous stomach back in that day. But what I've learned is that there are stomach busters. And what stomach busters are foods that create an acidic environment in our body. So there's coffee, refined sugars, chocolate, artificial sweeteners. I know you don't want to hear about chocolate, but that is the truth. Processed and fast foods, alcohol, stress, and prescription drugs. Now, I'm not telling you to get off your prescription drugs. I'm just telling you that they are acidic to the body. So having said that, do you want to dive into how the stomach works, or do you have any
Yeah,
questions that you want to ask me before I start that?
I think, yeah, absolutely. Like, honestly, quite often people think, oh yeah, I just eat food, it's in my stomach, and then I go to the washroom. Like, honestly, to be quite blunt about it.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the washroom because we should be going to the bathroom if we're in peak health 3 times a day, because we need to be flushing out in the morning time, our dinner, after lunch, our breakfast, and after dinner, lunch, that kind of a thing. Quite a few people deal with constipation, so I'm just going to tell you a little bit about how the stomach works. So what the stomach busters do is they create an acidic environment in our stomach. Our acid levels in our stomach often start to deplete by the age of 2. So, and that's normally because of lifestyle and how we're fed. Most people think that they have too much acid in their stomach, therefore they go and they get Rolaids, Tums, whatever it is, to decrease that acid. But what's happening is they don't have enough acid in their stomach. So when they put in one of those stomach busters, you drink a coffee, you eat chocolate, you eat a pie, whatever it is, your stomach then roars into production of acid. But because our acidic levels are lowered, so is the mucus lining that protects our stomach. So when you eat those foods, again, it creates more acid in the stomach, which roars into production. The mucus isn't there to protect it. So then it'll start coming up the esophagus, heartburn, acid reflux, all those kinds of things. So that's what happens there. And then what happens is, because we have low stomach acid already, it doesn't digest the proteins properly. So chunks of food literally get released into the small intestine. That then goes into the bloodstream, because in the small intestine, you're absorbing out the nutrients that you need, right? So that goes into your bloodstream. It also goes into your liver, and that's where allergies can start. Well, they could start to form. And so the undigested particles then travel to the large intestine, and there they start to rot. Yum, sounds delicious. But our body isn't able to break down those undigested particles the way they should, the proper way, basically. So, and it causes, I don't know what gas can be and how stinky it can be. And I remember watching a video done by a friend of mine, and he was talking about, I don't know if anybody knows this, but way back in the day, people used to light their gas on fire, their farts, whatever. And he was saying that a friend of his did it and actually burned all the hair off his arm.
Oh
Not
my
smart.
gosh.
So when those particles aren't digested properly, they create methane gas and alcohol in the bowel. But some of this gas gets excreted, and some of it escapes up into the liver and the bloodstream. So that's where you start getting things like rashes, poor mental clarity, toxic burden, headaches, cysts, anything like that, because our body's job is to keep us alive. So it will do whatever it needs to do to keep us alive. And therefore it will create, like with a cyst or a fatty cyst, those are basically toxins that our body will protect us from. So our body becomes more toxic, obviously. So as the liver becomes more toxic, it turns those toxins into bile. And then what happens there is when the bile and the liver gets too toxic, it can't neutralize the toxins fast enough. And so then we start having gallbladder issues. We get hot spots like ulcers, Crohn's, colitis, spastic bowel, irritable bowel. Those are all the things that can come when it reaches that level. And then our immune system is also compromised, because the liver releases more and more of the toxins into the bloodstream. So then again, we've got brain fog, rashes, arthritis. Those things start to become more prevalent in the body. And I mean, you look at anybody today, and there probably isn't a person around that doesn't have one of these symptoms. So the spleen is our third and final filter of the body. And the spleen tells our immune system what to do, and also tells our fighter T cells what to do. So it then starts to attack the muscles and the nervous system if it gets that far. And I kind of liken it to, it starts snipping the nerves. And that's where we get things like MS, MD, and Parkinson's. That's where they start to form. So that's why it's so important to not eat the stomach busters. So I know it's difficult to tell people just quit these things. It's in today's society and the way we eat and the way we live our lifestyles, it's not always that easy to do. Just cut back on your coffee. If you're a 4 coffee a day person, try and cut back to 3 coffee a day, and then to 2. Try it that way. One doctor that I've studied with says that not to drink coffee first thing in the morning. So have water, lemon juice, whatever, and then have your coffee a couple hours later. And with refined sugars, what's that? Sorry?
What I'm finding for my own personal changes is doing it every second day. So you know me and my coffee, I love my coffee. You know, I've kind of created that focus with it. And so I have emotions attached to my coffee. So I wake up, okay, I'm going to focus, and then I'm going to create. And so coffee and me have had that. So I've been slowly changing that every second day over to my mushroom mix.
Good for you.
And then just putting that new energy onto that focus, you know, and creativity onto my mushroom mix. So it's been a little bit of a change for me as well, but it's going to take me a little more time. And, you know, that repetitive sort of anchoring that energy into my mushrooms is going to be overall great for my gut health.
That's a great, you know, one thing I did forget to mention about the stomach busters is tea, caffeinated tea, because of the caffeine, right? So that's awesome. I love what you're doing, just switching it out. And that's quite easy to do. There's lots of different barley. I don't know. There's tons of them out there. You can go and research that yourself. And with the sugars, like most people look at me like I have 2 heads when, you know, if you cut back on your sugar, they're going like, no, not happening. But you can switch that out. There's monk sugar, there's stevia, monk fruit sugar, I should say, stevia, there's maple syrup. There's, what's the other one I wanted? Coconut sugar. you can start substituting those sugars because they're not as hard on the body, and they don't, the monk sugar, I believe the monk fruit sugar does not raise your glucose levels, your blood glucose, and neither does stevia. So if I explain sugar, you get the spike and then you get a crash, and you get a spike and you get a crash. With stevia, for sure, it's more like this wave. So you don't get the spikes and the crashes, which is when you want more, right? Because you're depleted. And
So the
same with chocolate.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
The program I'm following right now suggests that I can use maple syrup 3 times a week as well for gut health balance. And it just makes a little statement in there that your body uses it up quickly.
Exactly.
So it's a different format than, using sugar. So I just thought I'd add.
And it uses it up more quickly because it's real. A refined sugar is processed to death, literally. So it's not giving you any benefit other than tasting like sweet. So maple syrup, people used to use the agave, but I think that's kind of going by the wayside because there was some research about it not being that good. But there's lots of different alternatives out there for sugar, and same with chocolate. Just buy higher quality chocolate, or just don't eat it all the time. I mean, I still like a coffee crisp every once in a while, but I might have one once a year kind of a thing. For me, what did it is when I looked at the calorie count on a chocolate bar, it was almost like having a whole meal. And I went, oh no, that's not happening. And artificial sweeteners, it speaks for itself. They're not real. And your body doesn't know what to do with them, doesn't know how to process them properly. And processed foods and fast foods, we all know high calories, high sugar, high salt, high fats and trans fats, and alcohol speaks for itself. Stress is one that is a tough one, because I think in today's world, most of us have stress all the time. So you mentioned, you mentioned the last time we talked, or was the box breathing, or no, the triangle breathing. I talked about the box breathing, or will talk about it. But those are things that can help you reduce your stress. Yeah. And then prescription drugs, you have to take those if you're on them for a reason. Just make sure the rest of your diet is more alkaline. We do need some acidic foods in there, but just make wiser choices if you can. And that's all I have to say on that, because I could talk about this forever.
And the little tip that you shared with me on our drive was what you put in your body in the first part of the day creates that foundation for it. So I just wanted to kind of touch base on that, because that was a really good suggestion too, is making sure that you have, your green drink first before your coffee, if you are going to do that heavier, what are they called? Stomach buster items. And that will also balance that out.
It will too. And a good rule of thumb is a glass of water with lemon in it first thing in the morning. I use lemon oil for, that you can ingest. And that's what I use, because a lot of people say that the lemons will wreck your teeth. I still eat lemons, and so far I still have teeth. So it's just a choice, and you can drink that warm. And
perfect.
So there you go. And again, if anybody has any questions about this, you can drop them in the comments, and we'll answer them to the best of our knowledge. And if we don't know the answer, we'll find it out for you.
Absolutely. And I'll put Robin's information in the bottom so that you can see some of her other beautiful work. And thank you so much for coming out and listening to us today. And we'll talk to you next Wednesday.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Bye.